Hey guys, Shane with Now That I'm Older. Check out Rogue Intel Prime with Duff and Chris. Anything goes in this podcast of infinite possibilities. The gang are sure to entertain with their take on the latest news, commentary, and review of, well, whatever the hell they feel like. Check out Rogue Intel Prime on rogueintel.com.
Wubba lubba dub dub! What's up, guys? It is the powerful Nerdcast. Here we are on a beautiful Saturday morning. I'm Corey. Joined with me is Christian.
Hello, world. It's Saturday. It's early. And this is going to be a pretty laid-back podcast, but we are excited to be here.
Yes.
So we were, so busy this week. I have, 10 shoots or something like that. I have all this stuff going on. And
Lots of traveling.
Corey and I are about to go on an adventure. We're going to film a wedding. It's going to be fun. Corey's going to see, holy matrimony up close and personal with a 24 to 105 zoom lens.
Sounds great. I'd rather see it with a few beers in my hand. That's the way I typically
enjoy weddings. Yeah. Well, too bad.
But today's a work day, so we're just going to get through it. We're going to have a lot of fun, and hopefully it will be a very successful project.
Yes.
But we do have some cool things to talk about today. We're going to go through some viewer questions. We're going to talk about some of the big fall shows which are coming up, some that we're looking forward to. One of which actually begins this weekend, which is a pretty big freaking deal. Fear the Walking Dead.
It is the Walking Dead. I almost want to call it a spinoff, but what it is they're going to restart the Walking Dead at the time of when the zombies took over, and they're going to show the actual, crumbling of civilization. But instead of being held in Atlanta, it's going to be held in L.A. And so it's kind of like...
So everything's going to be overpriced. The zombies are going to all look beautiful and in bikinis. It's going to be amazing.
And the weather's going to be great
Yeah.
during the apocalypse. It's going to be very nice weather. So I'm actually excited. I think we have discussed this before in the podcast, but I always find the fall of civilization to be the most interesting topic in films. Whenever that happens at the beginning, I'm like, why don't you spend more time on that part? I want to see when you can still call the cops, and then when you can kind of call the cops, and then the cops just are like, fuck it, we're not coming anymore.
Yeah, didn't you see all those damn zombies outside?
No way. Yeah. And so I think it's a very interesting concept. And the guy that's playing one of the main characters is the Fire Lord from the Airbender movie. One of his greatest achievements.
Yeah. At least at this point, hopefully it'll erase everything that was the Avatar movie.
Yeah. And then, so it just looks really good. And I love the Walking Dead universe, so I'm all about this. Mm-hmm. I'm totally down to see this. And what I like is the Walking Dead, I think, the way it works is they usually have mid-seasons. So it's they put a chunk out and then they're like, wait a minute. And then another chunk will come out. So hopefully this plays for at least 2 months. And that gets us almost to the Walking Dead coming back, which is technically... I think 2 years ahead at this point, which is kind of ridiculous thinking about surviving 2 years in the Walking Dead universe. So it's pretty cool. And then the other thing is they've talked about, if this is successful, eventually merging the groups, because technically Rick's group is no longer in Georgia. Mm-hmm. They are in Washington, but it looks a lot like Georgia because they still film it in Georgia.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we kind of know.
Yeah. But it looks really good, and I'm excited to see it, and the previews look great. And
they do. It's
made by the same people. It's going to be The Walking Dead with just new characters, which is a weird thing because everyone likes Rick in that group, so it's kind of weird, even when they'd focus on the side characters, what was her name, Beth, that chick? Oh, everyone hated those episodes, so I'm kind of
for good reason.
Yeah, Beth was a pretty weak character, but she could sing. And she was a young chick, and everyone was into that.
Because that's what I want to see in my zombie shows.
Singing teeny boppers.
A musical sequence might have worked in a comedy like, say, Shaun of the Dead. But I'm not so sure about The Walking Dead.
What's that scenario in Shaun of the Dead? Go here, do this, do that.
Oh, they go through... It's what I like to call the plan. It's when they try to figure out, okay, zombie apocalypse is happening... relationships are falling apart. Family needs to be saved. What are we going to do? And they go through this whole plan where first is take the car, go to Mom's, kill his stepdad Phil. Then they have to go and save
Phil.
His girlfriend. Hold up, have a cup of tea, and they'll be safe. But every single time they go over the plan, it gets a little faster and a little more violent. Because the first time when he sees Phil, he's like, "I'm so sorry, Philip," and then he just taps him on the head. The next time he's like, sorry, Phil. And then the last one is the best. It's just like, sorry, boom, just smack him right in the head. And each time the plan gets more ridiculous. And there's even more funny things hidden and out. Like when he's drinking tea, the actual cup says, I'm the best.
Yeah.
Like, just, he's definitely stroking his own ego, like, during these plans and everything. And then it all just ends with them holding up at the Winchester bar, which, you know, I mean, it makes sense. That seems like it would be a fairly safe place. But, I mean, in terms of zombie survival, like, zombie apocalypse happens tomorrow. Where are you going to go?
Well, here's the thing. If I find myself in a zombie apocalypse, like, even if you got a gun at your house, how many bullets you really got? You got, like, 50? You got 50 bullets. Yeah. So, in theory, you can kill 50.
It's not like you can just go down to the local Walmart and pick up, some more bullets.
No, well, not during the zombie apocalypse.
Maybe a hatchet or two.
Maybe a hatchet. Yeah. But, I don't know. I'd find some sort of blunt weapon. Mm-hmm. I'd find some sort of firearm if I could. Firearm's actually not good because they bring more zombies.
If anything, the noise.
The noise is not good. And then I'd hunker down in some Walmart or something with a lot of food, or I'd go grab. That's the thing. It's not. I don't really think you want to be the guy with a pile of food and a gun at the top of the hill fighting off the rest of the world.
No.
I'd actually rather just get bit and turn into a zombie and call it a day because you probably don't want to be that dude.
No.
That's the worst thing, actually. That probably sounds like a living hell in a lot of ways. If a zombie apocalypse happens, I don't know. I don't know, man. It's so sad. You can make it funny, but at the same time watching your family die and all that crazy shit, that would suck, you know?
No, it would be awful.
Or like not knowing or not being able to use my cell phone. Oh,
yeah,
because
I mean, obviously, once that chaos goes down, a lot of technology is just going to go with it.
What about if I can't get on Facebook anymore, Corey?
Oh, my gosh.
Facebook!
How are you going to like shit anymore? How are people going to see your selfies?
No! Or Instagram. You need to get an Instagram, right,
No,
Corey?
I don't. A lot of our fans tell us we should get Instagram. I still barely know what Instagram even is. It's just... To my understanding,
it's Facebook for pictures.
It's just the wall of Facebook.
No, well, there's a difference because here's the thing: Facebook is all about connecting with your friends and adding new friends, and then there's a network that exists within these people that have become your friends. But Instagram is different because they use hashtags a lot. Like it's like the ultimate molding of Facebook and Twitter because you use hashtags and people can just search for things, and people that aren't your friends can actually see your stuff, and you can gather a big network.
Shit, dude, that can go with the zombie apocalypse. Let it burn.
Talking about Instagram, did you hear about Fat Jew? You heard about this?
I remember we were listening on
the Joe Rogan podcast.
They were talking about.
Yeah, it was the Brian Redband episode. So this guy named Fat Jew or Fat Jewish.
Yeah.
I think a lot like Joe Rogan. I feel very anti-Semitic when I talk about this man because his name is Fat Jew.
He named himself that so people would awkwardly have to say his name.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing. But he got in a lot of trouble because he's a big guy on Instagram, like 5.3 million followers.
Damn,
ridiculous.
Yeah,
that's like. And the thing is, I think
a lot of basement dwellers.
Yeah. So the point is, he would steal a lot of people's stuff. Like, let's say we came up with a funny post, and then we put our name at the bottom of the picture. He would like crop out our name and then repost it and not give people credit. And it's a weird thing because people do what's it called, retweet or share other people's things.
For all those who retweet our tweets, thank you.
Yes, by the way, we appreciate it. So there's some weird ground there. Is retweeting riding on the backs of other people's comedy and creativity, or is it just blatant plagiarism when you go and grab someone's stuff, crop out their name, use the exact... You don't even change the words, and then you just post it as yours, and keep gathering followers. And he had become really big. He had got a radio show on Apple Music, which is a big music platform that was just launching. He just got signed to a big talent agency. He was getting sponsors because of his Instagram had so many followers. He was getting paid up to $6,000 a post.
What?
Yeah.
Just to write out a little post, $6,000.
People would be like, "Hey, shout out my product," and he's like, I'm here drinking Kroger brand water, and it's great." And Kroger would pay him.
Kroger brand water. It's wet.
It's wet. It works. And so, yeah, so I think that he would get $6,000 for that. And the other cool thing is he could delete it a few hours later, because that was part of the deal. Like, I don't want my Instagram filled with product placement.
But he still keeps his cash money?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So he built his empire off stolen jokes.
His empire.
His 5.3 million Instagram followers.
Wow. That I don't know. You know, it is kind of a slippery slope because like the things that he's quoting and all that stuff. Is it like straight up taking like another comedian's joke and calling it his?
Remember that lion joke? The black guy said, "I'm going to start dressing like a lion, so if I get shot, white people will avenge me."
Yeah. So basically, he took that joke, got rid of that guy's name, made it seem like he was the one who came up with that joke.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's just straight up wrong. That's just plagiarizing.
Mm-hmm. So Fat Jew got called out by the internet because that's what the internet does. The internet is like the ultimate justice system.
The internet is a heat seeker missile looking for people to fuck up on shit. We should know. We have a YouTube channel, and we get called out on stuff every week. If we don't mention something, if we mess up a name pronunciation,
Or I loved this example. You were like, I complain about the animation in a canon episode. Nobody cares. Complain about the animation in a filler episode. Everyone loses their mind. It's
true, man. I don't get it. Half the time, a lot of people just want to be out there to correct you, I mean...
Well, they want to interact, and I feel like maybe they feel like they're helping.
Yeah.
If they're like, well, that was... But here's the correct way to do it. That was good, but what about if you spent more time talking about this? Mm-hmm. Instead of saying, you fag, you forgot to talk about that. It's like, so it's just a different
I'm not losing sleep over it or anything, but it's just, if you're going to be on the internet, and that's something you're just going to have to put up with.
What about the Ashley Madison thing? Did you hear about that?
My God. Of course I heard about the Ashley Madison thing.
Yeah.
I really don't care, though. I mean, have you heard any real big names of people who've been caught on there? I think the only, the biggest celebrity I found was freaking actor Mike Epps. Do you know who Mike Epps is?
No.
Yeah, that shows how far his career has gone. Basically, he was the replacement for Chris Tucker in the Friday series. He was Craig's cousin Day Day, who was in Next Friday. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Who honestly I thought was funny in the sequel.
But who cares? Here's the thing. Sorry, Corey, I didn't mean to interrupt. But here's the thing.
No, it's okay.
Most of those people probably are just regular dudes.
Yeah.
But what Ashley Madison was, if you don't know, Ashley Madison is pretty much a legal prostitution site.
Yeah.
Is what it was. It says, the tagline is, life's too short, have an affair.
Yeah.
It's like, hook up with some bitches online, pretty much. And then the internet, some sort of hacker group, was like, this is wrong.
Yeah.
I can't believe this exists in our society and we're okay with it. So they went in and they hacked all the data, got everyone's names, credit cards, information, and just dumped it online and said, fuck you guys. No longer is this going to fly in modern society. And it's fucked up, I
don't necessarily agree with the whole Ashley Madison thing.
I don't either.
And also, if you're going to be stupid enough to put up all your information online about, affairs that you've been having, you fucking deserve to get caught.
Yeah, you're dumb.
That's just, that's just the way I feel about it.
Yeah, that's dumb. That's dumb. Well, first of all, nothing's private. I was having a conversation with some guys last night about this, and they were like, yeah, so pretty much anyone can do anything to you, so how do you stop it? I was like, you don't. You be a good person, you keep your head down, and no one hopefully will fuck with you. That's pretty much all you can do now, unless you're a billionaire and you have a whole team there to anti-hack the hackers. I don't know. And then they were also like, one of the other discussions we were having last night was, I was saying, yeah, and money isn't real. Money, I just log into my bank account right here, and it's just, they show me this number, but it's not like that number, those dollar bills exist in a corner in my bank. It's just ones and zeros.
No, there's not the Christian slot.
Yeah, the money doesn't exist. So I'm just like, anyone can just log into your Amazon and take all your money or order a whole bunch of shit.
You're a barcode at your bank.
Yeah, pretty much. You're just a bunch of numbers, and your money is just ones and zeros and binary code. So I was just saying, it's all there for the taking. It's not that hard to do. So it's just very interesting that the internet, getting back to our main point, is the internet strikes down things they don't like, but also they swing too hard.
And these hacker groups aren't going to stand for that type of stuff.
Nah, and they don't need to. Cool.
But I mean, it's just the other big controversy around that whole Ashley Madison thing is obviously a lot of radio shows, a lot of morning shows and talk shows decided to do whole segments over the last week of just revealing these names to the public. And one of our hometown radio stations apparently caught a little bit of flack for that, just a little more flack after they did their interview with the Fantastic Four.
Steve, the Southside man?
Yeah, their group was talking about it. Jason Bailey.
Oh, the Bailey. The Bailinator.
And he was getting a lot of crap from people on Twitter. And then there was another group that I believe was in Australia, which was also getting a lot of crap for revealing all these names. And I'm not sure I don't think it's right necessarily to, do like a whole segment. All right, we're just going to ruin some lives right now, because they can ruin their lives on their own time by looking up this information themselves. This does sort of turn them into social pariahs, and I've already seen like articles of people like, Ashley Madison has ruined my life and career. Now that the information is out, I've been fired from my job and all this stuff. And they act like they're a victim, like they're the ones who've been victimized this entire time. Don't put your information all over the internet, because it's going to end up biting you in the ass.
This wasn't Christian Mingle. No. This wasn't Match.com.
No, it was a site designed to cheat on your spouse.
Or just to, even if you want to look at, let's say you're not married, but you just want to fuck.
Yeah.
Like, it's just legal prostitution portal.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Prostitution online portal right here. And it's kind of weird, but you didn't even have to pay the chicks, technically. I guess you had to buy them dinner. I don't know.
I guess if you count like the dinner as the price.
Well, that's what I thought every time. I was like, why I got to keep buying these bitches dinner when I take them on dates?
You know why you buying that dinner.
Yeah, I do. I do. That's why we're not splitting the check.
Is Waffle House okay?
Feel free to biggie size it. That's an old thing now. That doesn't exist anymore.
No, they got rid of it.
Biggie size doesn't exist. After Supersize Me. They removed Biggie size. They're like, we're conscious of health, guys. We're going to remove the 2-ton fry option.
2-ton fries. Big motherfucking Cokes. I don't know. I mean,
I think we were talking about TV shows.
We were talking about TV shows, but it all stemmed from the fear of the Walking Dead and Instagram and what you would do in those type of situations.
I mean, I guess I get a gun and I figured out that I manipulate some people to get what I needed in life.
Jesus.
I'd become the governor.
I don't know if I'd try to go lone wolf. That's not the way to go, because, I mean, there's just, the odds are stacked against you. With
what do they say? The most valuable and the most dangerous resource in the zombie apocalypse is people. And it's a weird double-edged sword. So I guess I'd start studying psychology and learn how to figure people out and not get killed.
I mean, I wouldn't just invest in a lot of blunt weapons. Like every type of metal bat that I could find. Like wooden bats are good. Metal bats are going to last a lot longer. The building thing, though, that's like, you want to find like a stronghold. That's always the thing. I don't know if it's good to find something that you can go up really high, because that's advantageous because you're away from the zombies. But what happens if the zombies pour into the building and now you have nowhere to go?
Now you're stuck.
Exactly.
In the building.
I've always had a theory. Like the first thing I would do in my house is I would destroy my stairs. Like completely. Like I'd take a sledgehammer, break them all down, and then I would get a step ladder, so that way if zombies ever did get into my house, they couldn't at least climb up.
You could just pull the stairs away?
I just pull the stairs away. Fuck, now I gotta climb out the damn window and run like a bitch. But I don't know. It's just you never really know what you would do in that situation, and it also depends on the zombies, because the zombies in The Walking Dead are like the old school, like staggering
walking. You can
like Romero zombies.
You can literally just walk fast away from them.
Exactly, and yet still so many people end up getting bitten and infected.
Well, in the Walking Dead universe, they say there's about 5,000 zombies to every person, so there's a ridiculous amount of zombies.
God, that's ridiculous.
So there's just retarded amount of zombies, so you can never kill them all.
Hopefully, this whole Fear the Walking Dead thing too will do a pretty good job of maybe explaining like how this really did go down. I don't know how much.
I think that's a big. They may never get to that.
But this is just the beginning of the apocalypse.
Yeah.
We'll get to see like how it's doing. And I love the commercials that
I just don't think there's some evil scientist somewhere in the Walking Dead universe. Like that doesn't
I don't think
fit.
that's going to happen either.
Maybe there was a biological terrorist, but he probably got killed too.
Yeah.
It worked too well. But then there are other types of zombies that are not in The Walking Dead, like the running kind, the 28 Days Later kind of zombies, the freaky deaky ones.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, the rabies kind of looking people, Oh, and then there's the Will Smith movie, the vampire zombies.
The I Am Legend.
Yes.
The super CG zombies.
The super CG zombies.
God, that was a bad CG.
It was bad.
It was really bad.
Will Smith he kept it together pretty good though.
Only thing I remember from that movie was the scene where Will Smith was in his apartment with I think it was the mom and the son.
Yeah, the lady and kid.
And
I don't know.
Scene, it's like the only movie he owns is Shrek. And he's like quoting it perfectly, like he's watched it like a million times. I thought that was probably my favorite part of that movie. But with zombie movies, explaining the whole apocalypse and everything, sometimes it can ruin the movie. Like a lot of the older, like Romero zombie movies, like Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, which every year becomes my favorite zombie movie the more I watch it. They never explain jack shit. It just immediately opens. Zombie apocalypse! Save your friends! Run from the menace! and then that's it. There's zero explanation as for how it happens, and I kind of like it that way. And I think that's going to be the biggest gamble with Fear the Walking Dead is how they explain it, or if they don't explain it at all.
Yeah, I don't think they should in some ways. Maybe they shouldn't. Maybe they just rebuild society and that's that.
But I think the new perspective will be good, especially with the new characters. I am ready for some fresh new faces. And I can't wait to see how things just collapse. It's going to be insane. And I don't know how long they're going to take to get there. In my opinion, the way I'd like to see it is I don't want to see the full collapse until the end of the first season.
Yeah, it's really
draw
that out. Mm-hmm. Draw that out. Like, oh, okay. Like, I think one of the characters is a principal, the female lead, and she's like, oh, a lot of kids haven't been coming in because they're sick. Like, that's just the first episode.
No, the zombies!
The zombie kids.
That's right.
Zombie kids.
And I love the tone because a lot of the commercials they have for it are really subtle but very clever. One commercial I saw last night while I was watching Back to the Future was this girl who was hanging out in her backyard. She was in the pool, and it just looks normal at first, and then you slowly start to see the reflection of a zombie walking towards the pool, but you just see its legs, and then it immediately just cuts to black. Just so ominous and creepy, and that's really what I can't wait to see is just these small, normal occurrences just getting knocked up by these crazy zombies. It's going to be insane.
Yeah, because there's going to be times like when I think I saw one where cops were like, get down, and the zombie doesn't, so he like shoots it, but it doesn't hurt the zombie, and the cops are like, what? He's like, yes, finally a reason to shoot something a lot. Yeah!
I guess cops will be happy in the zombie apocalypse. That's for damn sure. They're just going to unload on everybody.
They're like, yeah, people targets.
Yeah, take us to court now.
That's fucked up. Sorry. You've been part of police brutality, people.
If it's any consolation, it seems like we're going to have a lot of really good spooky shows to watch.
What else is
this
coming out?
Halloween season? I don't have the channel Stars. I am going to figure out a way to get it, though, because I've got to watch the brand new Ash vs. the Evil Dead show.
Yes.
Which is going to be airing like right at the same time as The Walking Dead. And those two shows are going to be perfect juxtapositions to each other for Halloween.
One super
serious. Because you got your one super serious, one that's very tongue-in-cheek and very fun. I think that's going to be great. I still don't know a lot about the series. I just know that it's bringing back Bruce Campbell and frickin' Lucy Xena Lawless.
Here's the thing.
That is going to be awesome.
I don't have doubts that the show's going to be good because I don't think the guy would make another Evil Dead unless it was spot on because he does want to tarnish that name. But here's the thing. Bruce Campbell has made some dog shit. Bruce Campbell has made some sci-fi movies and they look bad.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, man, just don't take this a little more serious. I almost wanted it to be a movie because, at least the production value would be a little higher.
You don't want Bruce Campbell to be like the Tara Reid of Sharknado.
No.
Basically.
God, Tara Reid was in Sharknado, wasn't she?
She looks awful now.
Well, she had like 5 bad boob jobs or something. I'm talking on my ass. I don't really know, but she just like fell apart, It all just American Pie like fucked her up. She was like the pie that got fucked in that movie.
Basically, yeah.
But in real life.
Over and over and over from every angle.
So anyway, Tara Reid. There's also a famous dude in that movie. Another famous guy. The dad from some.
I can't even remember. I barely made it through Sharknado 3.
Oh, you watched it?
I watched like the first 45 minutes.
What is the progression? What's happening?
It's just more of the same old bullshit.
So there's a Sharknado.
Yeah.
And then what's 2 about? There's another Sharknado?
Of course there's another Sharknado. That's the whole premise. They're like, God, this joke is so good. Let's repeat it 3 times.
What's the third one? There's a third Sharknado?
There is. It was called, I think it was called Sharknado 3. Oh, hell no. That's literally... That sounds like a joke. That's literally the name of the movie.
The name?
Yeah. Oh, hell no.
Oh, hell no.
The first one was at least kind of kitschy. It had the amazing, and I say amazing like with belief. The scene where the guy takes the chainsaw and jumps into the shark's mouth. It's ridiculous and it's stupid, but it's probably the best thing that I've seen from Sci-Fi Channel in quite some time.
Well, Sci-Fi, I think, is really... They realized they had a hit.
Yeah.
They're like, holy shit, we've thrown so much shit against the walls, and this is stuck, guys. We cannot let this go.
Yeah.
And so they just dumped... I've heard that the CG is much better as the series goes on. Like
a little, yeah.
Well, they're putting more money into the effects.
I mean, as good as Sci-Fi can get.
Damn, that's still pretty not good, though.
And they've done every type of shark movie that you can imagine on the planet. Like every type of
bear
combination.
octopus versus...
Sharktopus.
Sharktopus
is so fucking bad.
Really?
Oh my god, it's so awful. Sharktopus, Dino Croc, Super Gator, Piranhaconda, Piranhadactyl. They're all there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of dumb animals.
Yeah, super Super Cobra. versus Piranaconda. Like, it's all the same. We've experimented on a giant creature that's going to go on a rampage, kill like 100 people. There's going to be a shitty love story. And just some of them, and what I love most about it's not even the monsters. I just go to see, like, all right, what actor that I haven't seen in years is going to pop up in this
Who sold
one.
out to do this?
I see Michael Madsen. I don't know who he sold his soul to. Very famous actor, been in a lot of Quentin Tarantino movies.
Uh-huh.
He's Bill's brother in Kill Bill. He is in so many fucking sci-fi movies, like all the time, and he plays the same character every single time, which is this like out of work drunk hunter who always has to end up killing the monster and getting the girl, and it's so fucking bad, and they just repeat it constantly. It seems like they found this formula like way early, like back in the early 2000s. They're like, let's just repeat this shit for the next couple of decades and see if it works.
Oh my god.
Aside from that, sci-fi does have some pretty decent shows on it. Like the television shows are good, but the movies are just freaking awful.
I think they just phone it in. They're just whatever.
They
just
do.
Keep it going.
And I'm sick of shark movies, and I'm sick of big animal rampage movies like that. This is Sci-Fi Channel, not Animal Planet on Drugs Channel. Like,
how come Tremors was so good?
Tremors.
Except the last one.
Well, let's pump the brakes a bit.
Tremors
not
2
all
was
of
okay.
Tremors is good.
Tremors 1 and 2.
They're actually making another one.
Okay.
They are.
The Bacon? Is he going to be in it?
Bacon will not be returning. I don't
Damn
think Bacon's
it.
ever coming back. But I still think the first one is kind of a classic. It's a sort of a riff on like the old 1950s like horror monster movies. And then I watched the second one as a kid a lot because we had HBO and Cinemax.
Yeah.
And for some odd reason, they're just like, let's fucking show this movie 5 times a day for the next 2 months during the summer.
That movie did get a lot of playtime on TV back in the day.
I watched that so much. And to me, when I was younger, it felt like I was getting away with something because it was a horror movie. When you watch it as an adult, you're like, oh, this is basically a PG-13 horror movie. It's not really bad at all.
It's not bad. No.
But I really liked that one. Then there was the third one. That's when it started to get just a little insane because the first movie was all about like the big sandworms, Yes. And then the next one they had the little ones,
the little raptors.
They would hatch from the big one.
Yes.
And then the third one, we're like, fuck it, let's make them fly. And you know what? Let's not just make them fly. Let's make them shoot fire out of their ass like a rocket. That's the next progression.
I don't think I've ever seen the third one. Now that you're talking about,
what type of fucked up evolution process is this? And they got the fourth one was even worse. It was a prequel to the entire series. They actually go back in time to like the Western days, and they fight against them like old school style.
But they have the guy with the guns.
They did. They had his ancestor who was there. I think he was like either the sheriff of the town or he was some sort of like drifter, frickin' And then they're making a new one right now. And there is a trailer for it. You can go ahead and watch it. And it basically just looks like more of the same. But they are bringing back
the gun guy.
The gun guy. I wish I could remember his name.
He's never been in anything else.
Nah, but he's not really. I could have sworn I've seen him in something else like years ago. Something from
maybe
the
a
90s.
sci-fi movie.
Maybe something like that. But no, he's definitely the star of that entire series. And I always thought it was really funny that he always wore an Atlanta Hawks hat.
Yeah.
Like an old school, like early 1990s one. I think that's really cool. But yeah, he was definitely the most fun character of that. But yeah, Tremors. Look for it. There's also a Tremors TV series for people who may or may not remember.
See, it's a series that got wore out, like RoboCop. Like they tried to phone it in.
But the Tremors series was a little smarter because it wasn't just all about the worms and stuff. It was all just like a bunch of like weird supernatural monsters that all just happened to be like kind of in the same area.
That's true.
But there was also still the threat of the sandworms. They were always kind of in the background. There were only so many episodes that actually involved them. But then there'd be stuff like about werewolves and witch doctors and all types of weird crazy shit.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a show that most people don't remember, and it was a sci-fi series.
Oh,
because
that doesn't surprise me.
They're like, shit, we got this Tremors thing, man.
Yeah.
We're gonna run it into the damn dirt.
I want Bacon.
Get it?
I want Bacon to come out and be.
I would love Kevin Bacon to return.
Yeah,
but it's just not going to happen. Kevin Bacon's career has rebounded in like a really good way. He's on a lot of television shows and stuff, and I'd still say his career was pretty damn successful, and it's still going.
Oh yeah, Kevin Bacon's the shit. He was awesome in X-Men. He was great in everything. He
was in X-Men. Yeah, he was the leader of the Hellfire Club. I think that's what they called.
I forgot what his power was.
It was like some sort of like repelling ability. I'm not sure. Like I remember the one scene where that one dude was trying to attack him, and he took like his ball of light and like put it into his mouth, and then the dude just like exploded.
Oh, he could absorb energy
like,
and then spit it out. Yeah, that's what
that
it
was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. Mm-hmm. And the point is, Kevin Bacon's the man. I've seen quite a few of his movies.
Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
He was a lot of those like guys from the 80s. They got their start in horror movies. And
Depp.
Yeah, Johnny Depp, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
They both get completely butchered to hell.
But
they both arguably get the coolest kills in their movies too.
Really?
Which is also really awesome. Kevin Bacon got the arrow through the neck, like from under the bed, and then Johnny Depp literally got sucked into a bed, which then just like spews out like a geyser of blood, like constantly into the ceiling. And the effect was done with a rotating room, so that way it would look like it would just pour out. But then they just turned it around and everything, and it looked really good.
Interesting.
You know, and that's an old school 80s movie. And they're
practical effects win every time because they look real. Because they're not fake.
Yeah. They're more believable.
Yeah. Practical effects win. But guess what? They take a little time and energy, and you can't do it in a cold little room with a computer. So people don't like them.
There's only so many situations where I think you can get away with like crappy looking effects or crappy looking animation. Case in point, South Park.
Okay. There is the truth. Here, though. CGI is not CGI in itself. I read an article the other day. It was like CGI doesn't suck anymore, and people need to stop saying it does. And no, but it's not like it's like they're great at building worlds. Like if you look at like Game of Thrones, like there's never thousands of soldiers. You know, they just take the one group and they clone them and they clone them and they clone them. Or there's not really a big castle in the background. They just put one there. Like I feel for that stuff, it actually works. It's like practical for the first 50 feet. And then, you know, it's fake behind them. So you get the original sort of feel of everything. And also the thing is,
it works for buildings because buildings don't move.
Okay. Yeah, and it works for sets, maybe, as long as it's not just a green screen world, you know. But for the most part, CGI is pretty good in certain ways.
Yeah. It really does depend on the object. Like going back to sci-fi again. The other weekend,
sci-fi.
The other weekend, I caught like the tail end of that Wizard of Oz James Franco movie.
Ooh, I heard that sucked.
Like I said, I caught like the last couple minutes of it, and like the CG and like the green screen was really bad, but. I noticed something, and this is something that I think is a really important detail about CG animation. There were these two characters in the movies. There's this one flying monkey, which of course is CG and just looks so completely fake. And then there's this other character, which is like this little like talking porcelain doll, like made of glass. The doll looked realistic. The doll looked super scary realistic because it was a cartoony-looking object that's something that doesn't exist in real life. So it does work for stuff like that.
Just like how CGI works great for dragons because we've never seen dragons.
Exactly. You know, but when you see like the monkey and the doll next to each other, like the monkey looks awful. The fur is bad and the face is weird, but the doll looks amazing.
Yeah, and it's also like when you see...
And it fucks with your head a little bit. You're like... Wah.
Like the lion from... What's that lion movie? It's one of those fantasy movies where the kids walk through the
Chronicles of Narnia.
I think the lion looks like garbage because you know what a lion looks like.
Yeah.
Or you know what the wolves or the deer. I've seen what was that horror movie where the deer ran at the car and they all... Ooh, I'm forgetting that scene.
Oh, man.
They all run at the car. It's like a Ring movie, maybe? Maybe it's The Ring?
Maybe.
One of the sequels. Anyway, there's a scene where all these deer like run at this car and like try to kill the people in the car. And they all like run into it. But they all look fake as shit. Because deer don't look like that, you know, like they just don't, they look a little lifeless or dead. And so it's interesting that like fake things can look good in CGI, but real things still haven't gotten it yet.
I say the more cartoony it looks or the less realistic it looks, the more you can accept it.
Like Mr. Poopy Butthole would look great.
He would. Mr. Poopy Butthole, this is how I die. God, check out Rick and Morty. That show's great. But Rick and Morty has also like destroyed a few things for me. Like when I was watching Back to the Future last night,
which is what they're based on. in a lot of ways.
It's not like they have too much in common outside of mostly just the similarities, like in what they look like. But just some of the mannerisms of Doc and the way he talks to Marty, like it totally feels like Rick and Morty. Like they really did their research on some of it. Like how when something goes really wrong, immediately like the Doc will just start freaking out and not explaining anything to Marty. He's just like, we gotta get the hell out of here, we gotta go! It's like they basically took that energy from Back to the Future and translated it into an animated television show.
Yeah, and you never shut the fuck up about not Star Wars,
Back to the Future. I don't know why. Like the last, maybe it's because it's 2015 and they've been showing it on TV a lot more, and just Back to the Future is one of those movies like where if it's on TV, like if I got nothing else to do, I'm just gonna sit down and watch it. I love Back to the Future. I love the entire trilogy, and they showed part 1 and 2 last night. I fell asleep during the second half, but just
you know what happens.
Yeah, I know exactly. I've seen them way too many fucking times, but I always notice something different, and it's a fun, heartwarming, well written classic '80s movie.
No, it's very good.
And it makes me miss Michael J. Fox.
You know, guys, I really hate to do this, but I think we're going to wrap up kind of early this week. Corey and I have some other things to do, but really great top podcast. I felt like that energy was popping.
Yeah.
We popping off, guys. So
we do apologize we didn't get to any of the viewer questions. We are going to save those for the next episodes, as well as a few other topics.
Awkward Imger is coming back next episode. I got to do my research and get a bunch of those images. You know, I also got an idea that just popped in my head. If you guys like Awkward Imger and you can run into funny Imger posts, send them to me at Christian Super Kami, and Kami is Kami at Gmail. Christian Super Kami. Send them to me because Corey can't see them. I don't want him to see them before the episode. That's the whole point. So if you find funny internet things, send them to Christian Super Kami at gmail.com if you want to. If you don't, I'll figure it out. But yeah. So anything else you want to shout out before we go?
No, that's pretty much
What
it
else
for the
did we
week.
do this week? Anything interesting? We just reviewed
Just
standard
our
stuff.
standard reviews.
Yeah, if you guys want to check out our reviews, we have a YouTube channel called Super Kami Guru 9000. It's on YouTube. We do anime reviews. Most of you probably already know that, but for our iTunes only listeners that may not know that. And also, you can find this podcast on YouTube, on iTunes, on RogueIntel.com, which is a podcast network, which we are part of. And, you know, we're pretty much the main deal on there. You know, we're the shit. Right, Corey?
Right.
Yeah. Just kidding. But anyway, you guys, thank you so much for the support. We really appreciate it. And until next time, see ya.
Hey guys, it's Shane with Now That I'm Older. Check out the Pocket Dump podcast on RogueIntel.com. Pocket Dump is an up-close look at the world of the daily carry. Each week, Matt will interview somebody new and different, and they'll talk about the things that they have to carry every day and can't live without. Listen to the show if you're obsessed with knives, multi-tools, personal flashlights, knives again, screwdrivers, and any tool you can think of. Check out the Pocket Dump podcast on RogueIntel.com.